Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, so I hope you're getting the safe in the bodies, doing the grounding, doing the aligning, heart coherence. Try to get that circadian rhythm back online, wake up with the sun, turn the lights off with the sun. And I know, especially in, northern hemisphere right now, the days are short. So candlelight, if you can, after dark. Less screen time, the better. I sound like a hypocrite saying that, but less screen time, the better. Period. The end. But take this time to maybe do some nice things in your environment. Create a space where you love, and then just, I don't want you to vet thoughts. I want you to ask where the hell they came from. Whose are they? Who the heck said this in my past? Does this make any sense? Just start asking that. Who told us that? Who is talking right now? Is it really me or is it somebody else? Okay. So a lot of times people are like, you shouldn't be negative. It's so low vibe. It's not low vibe. It's not low vibe. Okay. If you can hear what the fuck you're saying to yourself in your head, it's yourself going, are you going to listen to that or are you going to tell it to fuck off? Do you see what I'm saying? All these different, like when we listen to podcasts or talk show hosts or watch whatever the hell it is, we do this on a repeating pattern. They become voices in our head. It's like they pull up, you take a seat at our round table, okay, so to speak. So just be very careful who you're listening to and who it sounds like. And a lot of times it's, a parent or a caregiver or some old narrative from maybe even a sibling or whatever the hell it is, or a pastor or a rabbi or whatever the heck it is. Okay, the narrative isn't always yours. So remembering that when you're doing the negative self-talk thing, that's not you. That's never you. That's never been you. It's some authoritative figure, somebody inserted into your system like a program. Okay. So that's your number one thing is getting the thought process under control, because that's literally the system doing the whipping without having to pay anybody to hold the whip and lash you. So that's the system at work. That's the system I'm referring to. So maybe, cut down on the lashings for a little while. Be like, you know what? Fuck. I breathe here and that's okay. And just, put your hands over your heart. Maybe just say, I am. And see how pissed off the voices get. And just keep saying, just keep repeating to yourself, I am. I am. I am. Okay. Just that. Just that. You don't need anything else after it. You don't need a descriptor. You don't need a duty. You don't need a name. You don't need a label. Just I am. Period. The end. Psh. And that's what they don't want you to know, is that's enough. That's how you get your agency. You get to say, hey, I live here. I was freaking born here. I deserve to be here. And everybody, that's in a patriarchal slave master narrative is going to try to convince you otherwise. No, you don't. You earn your keep. You earn your this, that, and the other. You earn this, that, and the other thing. You have to slave away for these things. If you don't do that, you can't exist here. And it's like, that's not true. It's not true. And it's not that you get to, have mommy and daddy slave away or, whatever the heck it is to make sure that you just don't have to lift a finger. That's not it. It's not that you're scot-free of chores because you exist. That's not the end goal. The end goal is to say, I'm alive, so I can choose and pick what I need to do on this planet rather than be forced into a system that's just going to make me slave away to hold out its hand again and be like, all that work you just did and all the resources you gained from it is now mine. Thank you. You're going to have to pay a place to live, eat, insurance, blah, blah, blah. Well, just give it. Okay. Just chunk by chunk, chisel away at that negative voice inside your head that tells you this, that, and the other thing. Just chisel a little bit by a little bit. And it's not to make you feel bad. It's not to, again, shame and guilt are mechanisms of manipulation and control. Okay. So if you have forgiveness to ask of somebody, go ask it. Say, you know what, I did that thing and I sincerely apologize. Okay. If you're apologizing for breathing, might want to tell the icky voices to go away, because they're just lying to you. It's just lies. And it's easier to believe the lies about the bad when you haven't heard any good things for a hot minute. Okay. So easy. So easy to be like, you know what, they're right. God damn. Son of a monkey's butt nugget. Now what am I going to do? Sit here and wallow and feel bad. Ooh. Now you stepped into the low vibrational because you let the voices win. So you step down in that energetic pattern, I should say. And now you're anchored in at that point of energetic output. You're anchored in there. Once you step into it, you can hear the negative whatever all day long until it psh, whatever. Okay. But when you step into the, oh my God, insert blah, 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 blah bullshit here. Okay. And then you're in that for the rest of however long you choose to stay there. Okay. So this is what the system wants you constantly grinding on. This is what creates a lot of addicts and a lot of self-sabotaging. And in some cases, it turns abusive to other people because the negative whatever sinks so deep into you that you just negativity. Okay. And I would venture to say that's the majority of the people abusing other people on the planet. It's just an over inundation of complete and utter bullshit. I mean, you'd have to believe that stuff in order to, be okay with what's happening. You'd have to have some sort of program running in the background and be like, yeah, it's fine. Well, okay. So we're going to have to accept that we've had that program for a long time. Schmittler himself was like, hey, I really love the U.S.'s policy, but they're so harsh. I fear instituting them myself. That's what Schmittler said about us and our slavery program, our immigration program, which was basically, sure, come here for free labor for a hot minute and then you'll be free. It is astonishing the amount of people who do not know anything except for all the pretty frills about our forefathers. Dude, they had slaves like crazy. Go talk to a native. That's what I have to say to that. Go talk to a native. And again, this is an entire country that has this ingrained in their system. That's okay. That's praiseworthy material right there. We were founded by Freemason psychopaths who are to be praised. Okay, that's a you. Okay, so you kind of see where the negativity really just has a chokehold basically on the country. If I found you, it says they're fucking saints. Oof. Do you see when you have that rooted in, like, that's our anchor? We're in a lot of trouble when we can't vet our thoughts and our intelligence and our knowledge and then bring it into some sort of heart coherence, going, maybe this wasn't the best idea for humanity to behave that way. Maybe that's not the best outcome. Because we brought the slaves over on ships. They didn't invade here. We stole them from their own land and brought them here. Okay? And the only reason why we couldn't do that to the natives is because they had gonads and they told us where to stick it. And they stood up for themselves and they said, I don't think that this is a good system for you or anybody else on the planet. And we responded to how we responded to it. So, comprehending that this has been a very large problem throughout recorded history, if you will. Even the Sumerian quote-unquote authorities sound like two pimps arguing over shit. The lid's gonna blow off of that. So we're gonna have to kind of brace ourselves for impact on that. So if you can vet all the negative stuff out now, because more negative's gonna come in this year. A lot of things are gonna come to the surface, have to be looked at, assessed. And it's not gonna be a comfortable time. And that's, we're going to have to come to some serious healing and, refrain from victim blaming and crap like that. Because there'll be people, they manifested it, they called it in, they blah, 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 blah. Okay. So it's thousands of years worth of total human brutality is going to be brought to the surface, and we're going to have to sit with it and get real about what kind of future we actually want to produce, because the one that we've had going for thousands of years really sucks for the entire human race. The entire human race. I'm talking about even the poo-poos in charge right now. They done having a rough times of it. So the more you can grab the negative stuff by the whatever and just pull it out, the more important it is. And again, the negative stuff isn't always, self-belittlement either. Sometimes the negative stuff is, what, they had, oh God. I'm trying to think of like something that the public would say about a victim. Oh, she had I don't know. What did they say about her? When they try to demonize somebody and justify their offing on the planet, I don't know what the hell that's called. I don't know what that weird noise was. It sounded like a birdie chirp. Okay. Sometimes negative thoughts, let's just label them. We'll label them the same. So the negative, the the negative self-talk is over here, but then the negative other talk is over here. Okay, now I'm not telling you not to use discernment. I am telling you that it doesn't matter what the particular reason, logic, whatever it is behind it. If you're getting bad vibes, just walk away. Okay. Sure, you can kind of come to like, what was I picking up there? What even was that? But just move away before you start analyzing and talking to the person about it. Because this is it's gonna be a year of going, you said what now? Because people are it's gonna be really difficult not to tell on yourself this year. Ooh. Everybody's going to be tailing on themselves, and we're going to have to listen to some doozies. Well, we don't have to. We can turn this dark liquid crystalline off, darling. Okay, we can turn it off. We don't have to keep listening to it. It was kind of nice to do that yesterday, even though most of it was spent doing the everyday chores. The discernment stays, but sorry, I keep going back and forth. Discernment versus tolerance. Okay. We are a nation that tolerates far too much for the sake of social patches. Okay. We tolerate the wrong effing things. How about that? We tolerate the wrong effing things. Okay. So everybody has a right to be themselves, but nobody has a right to completely take over a community and terrorize it. Okay, and that's what they're trying to set the example of right now, so that other people will start doing the same thing. See the trickle down thing? Trickle down thing. So be assholes and control the whole community is kind of what they're aiming at right now. So that way we can bring in our guys and say, look, we're providing law and order. So we're going to have to look at exactly what we've allowed in the past. How we've basically, one way or another, become one giant freaking mafia with like little mafias all over the place. Okay. There's a reason why the mob bosses became who they were, because they saw that's how the institution worked. They're like, well, if that's the game we're playing, that's the game we're going to play. Screw the Sopranos. The government's been doing it the whole freaking time. Legit. No lies told. Again, it's just going to be a year of like, hey, probably should look at that so we don't bring it into the future again. It's just a year of, okay, that has not worked out. Hardly anything we're using right now has. Let's drop it. Okay, socialism can't come with us. Communism can't come with us. Capitalism can't come with us. This is a really big year to be like, oh, I can see how that's going to turn out really bad. So when you have an authority that you have to give all the Pentacles to, or however many Pentacles to, they will become corrupt. That's just how hierarchy and authority works. It's corruption. That's how many times we guys see this, kids. You give someone too much power, too much money, too much anything that has a lead or a pull on society. I'm finished. Nobody's best interest, even their own. Straight down the chute into the freaking meat grinder. So comprehending that discernment is really important when we're moving forward, because there's a lot of socialist propaganda, and then there's a lot of, on the other side, capitalist propaganda, and they're arguing over this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, we could do this thing called use the beautiful real estate between our ears to come up with something else. We could do that for ourselves. I think we have the Marx guy with a pretty fluffy mustache. I am so sick and tired of putting any sort of stock or reason or credibility in old, entitled, rich white men's hands. I am so over this. Put it the fuck down. It's killing us, literally. We need to come up with something else. We need to come up with something new, completely devoid of past patterns. Because for all their meetings and plottings and plannings and tricks of the, science, oh, we're going to socially put these people through this and this plot of land and socially put these people through this on. Yeah, nothing's working, kids. Okay. Because, once you let that disruption of the human spirit happen, it's hard to get back to any semblance of creativity, which is that's what they siphon off humanity as well, is they siphon off the creativity of the people who can get their central nervous system into a state where they can come up with creative ideas that don't poisoned and diseased and dead people. Crazy, I know. So when we're aiming at not having some sort of parasite overrule us, we need to stay open to all the possibilities because we don't want to miss anything along the way. Oftentimes there's little crumbs that you can pick up on and kind of toodle-oo through and find and sift through those mechanisms that could be possibly working for humanity rather than driving it into the ground. Okay? The way in which we do this really does matter. The way in which we move forward as humanity, the way in which we foster each other to live here in a creative, sort of like a ecological way. That whole nature thing? That thing? Yeah. That could be, imperative to our way forward. And it's not that we need to live outside. We need to give up everything we have now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we can make this sustainable without having to poison the crap out of everything and everyone in the process. Okay? It's totally doable. It's totally feasible. It's not anything that's impossible. It's dialing the system down, letting the negative go away, letting the, that blah, 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 that's never going to happen, blah, 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 blah. So when you're telling yourself that, you're programming yourself to create a future that's going to align with it. So play out in your head 1930s Germany plus the Civil War. Play it out in your head. At the same time, all these things are happening. Plus a sexual revolution, a musical revolution, a drug revolution, a economic revolution, an education revolution. So now's the time. It really is. It's like the coolest opportunity I think this globe has ever had in a very, very long time. And so tell the negative Nancy system to fuck off because we have cool stuff to explore. Okay. And it's not that you have to be sunshine and rainbows. I don't like that stuff either. Because if you can't look at the reality of the system, you're going to be doomed to repeat it. This is what I don't care for about the spiritual community. They will not look at the gaping wound. I'm like, it's gonna grow green with some pus, and then you're gonna have to remove that limb. I don't think that's spiritual. I really don't think that's in any way, shape, or form spiritual under any circumstances. So look at it, address it, comprehend how you got the wounds, why it's festering, and how to heal it. So moving forward, we're not dragging our limb. We can use both of them. Okay, so the idea is that we're not set out on one path. We're not contained in one system. Unions aren't going to save us either. I heard somebody saying about unions. I'm like, dude, there's so many laws against unions right now. It's ridiculous. So as good as an idea it was, there were too many not necessarily keep up with the Joneses. There was too many people that thought that they were being smart and wise with their money when in actuality they weren't. Because you're working at a corporation where you constantly have to be the one advocating for your own rights makes you very powerless, okay? But the problem is the unions that even did exist still allowed the companies to poison the shit out of the employee. Because it didn't, one way or another, they were still getting their money. Okay. So the unions already failed the workers by saying, yeah, it's fine that those chemical toxins are being exposed to right now, as long as you pay them. Do you see what I mean? Like, the unions themselves were not doing humanity any justice either. So if the company is toxic, Waste Central, and we're trying to protect the rights of the workers who we know are going to be poisoned anyway, and the environment along with it, how ethical is that union? It's not. It's just not. That's why they failed, because the employees saw firsthand. If they were effective, they would have never been let go of or outcast or anything if they were actually effective, because the workers thought, well, this is poisoning the environment, it's poisoning the employees, and they're not really doing anything about it. Christ, you look at the OSHA laws now, dude, they didn't start to change until like 2012 or 14, I want to say. They did not start ramping anything up. Like, you could drink the poison on the fucking shelf that your company sold, and they would have been like, that was dumb. They don't. OSHA doesn't, or at least they didn't for a long time, until, I don't remember. It was between 2010 and 2012. Pretty sure. Okay, so just in your discernment, make sure that the stuff in the past gets inventoried so you know what works and what doesn't work, but do not try to bring it forward, because it obviously failed in the past for a reason. Stop beating your head against the brick wall, okay? Cannot stress this enough. Because we're going to waste precious time and energy trying to test these systems out, and then could result in some not so happiness on the human front of having body count unnecessarily. Okay, so if we can keep our sovereignty about us, keep the negative crap at bay, and look at the reality of the situation, take our deep breaths and go, okay, I can come into a different state of being here. I am not going to allow the systems that be to control my central nervous system. I'm going to step into my own sovereignty by myself, and then we're going to get somewhere that we've never been before, and that's how we're going to do it. Is we have to be courageous and step into the unknown. We can't be, we have to have, no, you create that for yourself. You create that system, that structure that's going to uphold you no matter what. And that's in here. That's not anywhere out here. That is central nervous system operation. It doesn't matter what comes my way. I am the center of the storm. And you just keep that up. Just keep it up. Okay. And it can be challenging, especially if you are still in the mode of, oh, I have a community, or I want to be part of a community, or I need support and whatever else. And there's nothing wrong with that. But once you get sovereign here, you begin to be able to reach out for the correct support. You're able to decipher and discern where the support actually is and where it might seek to make you wobble a little bit. So you begin to resonate on that secure level. Then you can start assessing it out in your own environment and whatnot. So the idea is that you become heartbreak coherent with the breath I gave you 2 days ago, I think it was. The four in through the nose and 6 out through the mouth. Okay. That's going to help you heart brain coherence come online. And then you're going to be able to say to yourself, okay, I'm safe and secure in my own system and body right now, regardless of what's happening outside of me. Doesn't matter what crazy ass news thing I just watched. I'm safe right here in my skin. Right now. In this moment, I am safe. Period. The end. Then you can come into, okay, knowing that I have this, knowing that this is my state that I am allowed to be in at any moment at my choosing. This is my own state. This is who I am. How can I come into something new and explore there? Okay. And this whole there's no coincidence and synchronicities and all that other good stuff. No, they'll come into play and then they'll start inspiring you, and the creativity will kind of flow and build off of that. That's why they tell you that it's, synchronicity and coincidence is poo-poo, because they're trying to take you out of your own creativity. Because once that gets fed, it is a feeding process. Once that gets fed, that fulfillment starts. Ooh, and then you get on this train of, I can create with this energy. That's why they do not want you to have it. They do not want you to feel in any way, shape, or form in alignment and one with your surroundings. That terrifies ever living daylights out of them. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Peaceful ways to spread terror. Isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. So come into alignment. Get in the sync. The sync. S-Y. Not the boy band. Those are a trauma thing in and of themselves. Okay, so alignment, fortitude, integrity, moving forward, creativity. I love you. Until next time, keep your